Your daily out with me.
Yeah!
We are here. Are you here? You must be. You're watching this.
We're on TV.
Yes, once again.
Once a day, every day, turn on the machines and we start talking. Yeah.
Every day.
For an hour.
Every day.
What? Is this mic on? Some people, I'm tease. I put on the switch now. I guess, yeah.
We're back here and it's another Monday.
If the meters are moving for me, then it's mic's on. So.
And it's the middle of the day. We're having a holiday. We're doing a holiday.
Wiki.
Yeah.
Labor Day.
So now we can be here when the sun is out. I don't know when was the last time you were here when the sun was out.
If you have experienced or have been in labor, then this is your day. Sort of.
Work?
Not really.
So Dan, you're always
Work?
here. Dan's always
Work?
here on Labor Day and Memorial Day and all those days because they're always on Monday for some reason.
That's because the secret overlords decided that long weekends were better than short weekends.
Yeah.
Or regular weekends. Or something. Something.
So maybe you're used to these Monday days.
I guess,
these
yeah.
holiday
Labor
things.
Day, Veterans Day, a lot of them, they fall on Mondays.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting how that works out. So I'm Holiday Dan.
Holiday Dan. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Did you...
Holiday Monday Dan.
How was the week for you?
Monday Holiday Dan.
Oh, fine. Nothing unusual.
Girl got a sandwich also.
Yep.
We got sandwiches. Sorry, Dan. Your sandwich.
Yeah.
Oh, I ate before I came.
Okay.
I had a sandwich before I came. So I'm
I
fine.
kind of offered if Dan wanted to get anything, but no.
It's okay. Thank you, though.
How was the week, man?
I'm trying to think if anything unusual happens because I don't generally remember much if it was the same old.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of the same old. I didn't end up watching Xander yesterday. I had plans and they fell through, and it didn't include Xander. So Xander, for those of you who don't know, Xander is my grandson. I watch him every Sunday.
Took a week off.
Yeah.
Did you talk to him?
Once on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of hard to talk to because he will sit there and he'll want to call, and you'll talk to him for like maybe a minute,
mm-hmm.
and then he will see something on TV and he'll just sit there and watch TV holding the phone.
Yeah.
And I'll go, Xander. And then I'll say, okay, listen, you're busy. I'm going to hang up now. No, wait, blah, 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 blah. And he'll talk for another 10 seconds or so, and then the TV distracts him. Or he's in the middle of a game or something like that, and then he just stops talking. Yeah, well, it's like, if you're going to be on the phone, talk to me. Otherwise, do your thing.
But you're just hanging out electronically and not on the...
Yeah. But he's 8 years old, so, that's kind of,
Like, you're here on the phone with me, so...
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Yeah.
So no street stuff?
Nope.
No shoes? No single gloves or shoes?
No, I haven't noticed any spackle in the streets. Or street spackle. It's little flotsam and jetsam and such. Yeah, not much. I saw a giant dragonfly.
Oh, yeah, where?
Oh, it was flying around. I was, where was I? I was at somebody's place. Yeah, huge dragonfly. It was like, man, big. As big as I've ever seen one. And, occasionally you get the gigantinormous big ones, but this one was really big, flying around. Yeah, they go fast.
Not at the swamp?
No.
It's like somewhere.
Where was it? I don't remember. I just remember seeing it flying around in a backyard.
Mostly in swamps or something. Those things are pretty scary.
Yeah, they're not. I don't think I've ever heard. Maybe someone told me once, but I don't remember ever hearing someone say how one landed on them and bit them. Because they are predators. They eat mosquito larvae. They eat aphids. They eat different things that they can catch. And interestingly, dragonflies don't have the muscles to walk.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, they can't walk like a beetle walks. You know, it's got the 6 legs and 3 move and 3 move and 3 move, and or 4 and 2 or 3 and then 3 and then 3 and then 3. But dragonflies can't walk. They can adjust their position. They can move around, but they don't have the whatever muscle configuration to be able to walk at all. And so wherever they land is where they land. So they can't chase down prey. They have to pounce.
Oh. They have legs though, right?
Oh yeah, they have 6 legs, like all insects. Oh, they can grip things and move each leg individually to hold on to something or to, you know, adjust their orientation. But walking, no. Which is really weird. That's a little fun fact.
They fly everywhere they go.
Yeah, little fun fact.
We'll call them dragon walking.
Yeah. Another interesting thing I learned, I was looking at deep time, the history of the entire Earth, and these are things that I kind of already knew but for me it was an update. And I could never figure out how long an eon was, how long an era was, and how long a period was. But an eon, there have been 1, 2, 3 eons, and we are in the 3rd. An eon is subdivided by eras, and each eon has several eras. So an eon would be 1 billion years, or 2 billion years, something like that. And an era is anywhere between half a billion years to several 100 million years, or something like that. And then within each era is a period.
How are the eras different in length?
Well, it's interesting. They haven't divided the eons and eras and pyramids. They haven't divided them into like regular intervals. What defines an era is usually some sort of terrible event. For instance, there were 2 major extinctions. And so either the era or the eon was divided at that point when there was a major extinction. And there was a Permian extinction, which was really intense, 90% of all life on Earth, 95, something like that, a huge percentage. And then there was soon after what is called the Cambrian explosion. And so you've got Cambrian and Precambrian, and I think those are eras as opposed to eons. It might be an eon divide, I'm not sure. Anyway, what's really interesting is the closer to our current time, the more periods there are. Like in the last eon, there are several eras, and there's a whole bunch of different periods, and we're in the last period. I don't remember what period we're in. I don't remember what era or eon we're in. I should write that down. They're Greek names with a bunch of letters and stuff.
Why are they changing the period so much? Do they think that there's more stuff happening now?
Well, we have access to more time markers of things and stuff in geology and archaeology. We have more access to the more recent things. For instance, the big event that killed off the dinosaurs is a major marker, and one of the reasons that there is fairly firm evidence that an asteroid killed off the dinosaurs is because there's this line that all over the world in sedimentary strata of the earth, in buried layers of stone all around the planet, there is this one strip of dirt that has been compressed in all the rocks all over the place at the same point in time 65 million years ago that is really high in iridium, this metal. And iridium is quite rare, and that's why they noticed it, because this layer looks a little bit different than everyone else, or all the other layers closely associated in that time. And so something happened that deposited all kinds of iridium all over the earth at the same time. And the dinosaurs disappeared right around the same time, within that million years, within that 100,000 years. Part of the reason that the time divisions, the eon eras and periods there are fewer of them back in time, is that stuff was buried further and it's been compressed more, and there's just not as much stuff.
Yeah.
And the more recent we go, the newer it is, the more of it we found. And so this most recent eon era and period is subdivided a lot more.
Yeah, so they just kind of decide how they feel, like how much information, based on how much information they have when the periods are over.
Yeah.
And not so.
Yeah. What's interesting is that the life did not form. We have no evidence for life until about 1 billion years after the Earth formed. The Earth formed, and then what looks like maybe 100 million years after the Earth formed some kind of planetary-sized object, they think about the size of Mars, hit the Earth kind of sideways and took out a chunk of the Earth and totally obliterated this smaller planet. And we had a ring forming around the Earth at 60,000 miles. So we had a ring. The Earth had a ring of all this debris and dust and gas and all kinds of stuff. We had a ring around the Earth for a period of time, and then that ring slowly coalesced into two bodies, two moons. Mm-hmm. One not quite as big as the moon we know now, and another one quite a bit smaller that was just a little farther from the Earth, and that eventually collided into the backside of the moon. And that's partly why the moon looks the way it does, where it's very, very wrinkly, heavily cratered on the backside, and the inside is all these flat, what are called mare. When we look at the moon, we say there's a man in the moon, or we see a face in the moon. Most of what we're looking at are these flattened areas with really not much in the way of craters as compared to the backside of the moon. And at some point, something happened to the moon that crumbled and softened and flattened the side that faces the Earth. And there were literally seas of molten rock that formed these flattened areas called mare.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, about 100 million or about 1 billion years after Earth, that's the earliest that they've been able to find evidence of life, and these are called microfossils. These are the fossilized remains of bacteria.
Yeah.
They found all kinds of different fossil remains of bacteria that go back to about 3.5 billion years, and bacteria, these single-celled organisms, were the only thing that existed up until 4 billion years ago. So for about 2 billion years, the only life on Earth that existed were single-celled or very, very, very highly simplified multi-celled creatures that only lived on the sea. There was nothing on the land that we are aware of. There might have been lichens or moss or some kind of bacterial mats in shallow seas on the Earth. But there wasn't much in the way of diversity on the surface. But in the sea, all kinds of stuff. During the Permian extinction, they're not really sure what happened, but as long as all that bacteria was living, the Earth didn't have much in the way of oxygen.
Okay.
There wasn't a whole lot going on. Somewhere along the way, sea creatures learned how to photosynthesize and get energy from the sun. And the waste product of these photosynthetic single cell
Where were they getting energy
organisms,
before the sun, though?
the atmosphere was nitrogen, carbon dioxide. It was very acidic.
Yeah.
It wasn't the atmosphere that we know of today. It looks like the earliest form of life were what are called archaeobacteria or extremophiles. These are the kinds of single-celled life forms and simple multicellular life forms, prokaryotes and eukaryotes, that live around the hydrothermal vents at the bottom of the sea, that live in the hot spring pools at Yosemite Park.
Oh yeah, those were the original life, huh?
Yep.
Seems like it would be the opposite. Seems like there would be the sun life, and then this crazy chemical stuff after.
What happened is when these blue-green algae started living and propagating, they didn't have any competition, and so they started forming and reproducing at crazy levels, and they produced all kinds of oxygen. And this new oxygen atmosphere killed off the overwhelming majority of life on Earth that used this different form of energy, that used chemical energy as opposed to sun energy to live. And we got what was called a snowball Earth. There were two times during the Earth's early history, once about 2 billion years ago, and then once about 1 billion years ago. The whole Earth froze. It became an ice world like Hoth. And I always wondered about that. In Star Wars, one of the episodes, they are on this ice world, and they're running around. They're not wearing spacesuits. There's plenty of oxygen on this ice ball world. And it's like, well, you kind of need some sort of either chemical process or life process for the planet to have oxygen. Something. That's what I was thinking. So how can that be? But the Earth at one point was highly oxygenated, but frozen over except for a little bit around the equator, where there are little pockets and little seas where the sun got to and kept it warm during the summers or during the seasons. But the Earth was an ice ball a couple of different times, and it was due totally to all this oxygen. And then after that ended, things changed, and part of that too is that the continents, there have been 3 that I'm aware of. There have been 3 supercontinents where all of the crustal plates would move apart, and then they would crunch into each other on the other side of the planet, and they would move around and crunch around and move around, and then they would all separate, and then they would meet again and crunch around and move around, and some crustal plates would slide under others, and some would butt up against each other and form mountain chains, and some would both would push down into the Earth and sink. Subduction, induction. I don't think induction is one of them. But anyway, there were three different periods where the Earth had this single supercontinent. And Gondwana land was one time, Pangaea was another time. I forget the name of the first one. I hadn't heard of it before, but there have been 3 of these. And when this has happened, this has completely changed the climate of Earth. This had major effects on the climate because you had this massive region that was all sea, and then this little piece of the Earth that was all land, with a few inland seas and rivers and lakes and stuff. But that affected the climate, and that changed the way things were. So during the period of the dinosaurs, the Earth had just started to break up. this Pangea was breaking up into bits and pieces. That affected the climate and made the climate very, very stable for several 100 million years. And so during the period of the dinosaurs, the Earth was relatively warm, was relatively stable. There wasn't a whole lot in the way of volcanic activity, releasing a lot of stuff. So things were fairly stable, and that's part of the reason the dinosaurs didn't really evolve very far, very much. Oh, sure, there was a wide variety of them, but they didn't evolve. There wasn't this thing. After the Permian extinction, the Cambrian explosion, with this new oxygen being a major player in the atmosphere, diversification of multicellular creatures was rampant. We got everything from bugs to insects to shrimp to fish to little land creatures to coastal tidal creatures, all kinds of like mollusks and vertebraes and walking and swimming, all kinds of stuff. That's where we get the diversity that we do, is from this. And after the meteor hit the dinosaur, knocked out the dinosaurs, what was left over exploded in diversity. The dinosaurs, when we say the dinosaurs ruled the Earth, it means that they were the top predator. They were the top creatures. They all the other life forms of other kinds couldn't compete with them, and so they were small. They would burrow. They would hide. They would scurry. They could get away from these creatures.
So maybe what you're saying is that this asteroid saved or remade life on planet Earth.
Yeah.
To be somewhat more competitive rather than so top down.
Yep. Yeah, and interestingly, what drives evolution quicker, what drives natural selection quicker, is when the environment is chaotic. Over a short period of time, or even long period of time.
What, top down or having
bottom up?
A whole lot of peers, bottom up.
Well, it's kind of like this. If you were a population of creatures, and it was summer, winter, fall, and there were no changes in the seasons, there would be no pressure to change the shape of how you move through the world, how your group of creatures moves in the world, how it changes. But as soon as you get sudden storms, sudden explosion things, or things dry up when they used to be wet, or things get rainy when they used to be dry, and all these sorts of things, there are large numbers of die-offs from creatures that can't adapt. And there are a few oddballs in the population that can adapt to that survive. And then they pass on those deformities, or those mutations, or whatever they are, to the next generation or groups of generations. They pass it on. The ability to swim, or the ability to fly, or the ability to sniff out poison gas better, or, just deformities, or odd characteristics or traits. And then you have another calamity that happens, and there's a die-off. The majority die off, or half the population dies off, because they can't adapt to this new situation. And the oddballs, the ones with the mutations or the ability to survive whatever the calamity is, they live and they propagate, and they pass on those genetic changes to their offspring. So things change. So it's when creatures live.
Wait, hold on, Jeremy, hold on. We can't hear you. All right. Okay. Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
Still downstairs.
Jeremy's here.
Oh, okay.
Carl's gonna come let you in.
I was going to ask, or say, I don't know any human being oddballs. Ha ha ha. For evolution, Dan.
So good. Go get Jeremy. All right. Okay. Okay. Bye. Well, yeah, Jeremy's about to get here. Yeah, I think.
Jeremy, do I know him?
I don't know.
I know several Jeremys. Well, anyway, so it's during these periods of chaos and calamity that diversity is increased.
Yep.
Yeah, and I would say that could be said on the short term or long term. So I don't know of another.
No, we have more mics. We just gotta
Hey.
Yeah, this one's working. Here, we gotta untangle this thing. You got McDonald's, huh? Dan's talking about science.
Yep.
I'm untangling your mic here. You wanna play the dice game? Let's play the dice game. Let's get out a pen here.
Yeah.
We're gonna write a number down our hands between 1 and 6. Try to visualize the future. Let's see how this goes. Lose your mic, Dan. You lose your mic?
Carl, not Charles.
Charles.
I'm Charlie now.
How did you forget Carl's name?
Charlie.
Why did you pass it to Carl when there's... Oh, no, Jeremy. Charles.
It's not even close.
Oh, I know.
It's so far, it's not even...
It's kind of Charles. Carl.
It's
kind of rhyming.
It's in the right direction.
Hey, Carl, got something to say? No, I'm not rapping yet.
Mozzarella sticks are really sad.
Oh, yeah? Can I try one, or...
Sad?
Did you only have, I haven't gotten those here.
Sad.
Oh,
Parmesan crusted.
I always look at them, but then
Parmesan crusted.
never actually get them, because they seem weird. And I'm surprised
The
that,
Arby's ones are better.
surprised that you got them. Arby's
Arby's
ones.
are
You have a
better.
number?
Yeah.
You have a number, Dan? Carl?
Yeah.
Charles?
Yeah.
I do.
Carlito? Alright, let's do it then, Carl. Oh, you're setting it up. These are weird.
Yeah.
How old are they? I mean, they're
They
pretty fresh.
I just bought them like a minute ago.
Maybe they're holding better. They gotta be.
They didn't even give me my marinara sauce.
What?
Damn dirty apes.
There it is.
Oh. Here we go. 6. I lost.
So the other day, or last weekend, I went to Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
I was there like 1 a.m. So it was right before all the drunken assholes show up.
Mm-hmm.
They were really bored. And I was ordering my dollar menu stuff. And I asked them if they could put chicken nuggets inside the tacos.
Yeah.
And they did.
Oh.
Wow.
That's a pretty cool idea, man. I've never heard anybody try that. I really like just making up my own things.
Did they cook them separately and then put them together, or did they, you think they just threw them in the taco?
I think they just threw them all in. The chicken part was cooked fine.
How was it?
Tasty.
I was at Jack
chicken
in the
taco.
Box late one night and asked to have them put tater tots. I couldn't do cheese, so I wanted something else. So I said, "Hey, could you put tater tots in the burger?" Yup.
Yeah, they probably don't care about much. Jack in the Box is kind of, I think it's kind of like a freezer, mostly full of stuff, and they just throw it into the deep fryer.
Pretty much.
Oh, I imagine, if you work there, you would get pretty sick of the same old food pretty quick, so you'd want to get creative fairly quick.
I would get sick of that food. I don't even work there. Yeah.
Jack in the Box?
Yeah, that stuff is kind of crazy.
It's all right.
We got some messages. A bird called us back because we saw a dead guy.
Yeah.
Or a bloody guy, at least, at the Walmart. Me and Carl and Bird went to Walmart the other day, and we saw a dead
Saturday.
or bloody guy.
Where was he? He was lying on the pavement?
Uh-oh.
At the entrance.
And I'm sorry I missed you.
Sorry.
I hope you had
Are
a
you sorry, Bird?
really good program today. Sorry about the
Are you sorry?
experience of seeing that person. Hi. We don't know
Hey,
if he was
Bird.
dead, though.
How you doing?
Hey. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Real good.
Hay is dried grass for
Bah! Boom.
Happy times.
hay is dried grass
Ah! Have you seen that? You saw a dead guy.
Hay is not dry.
Ah!
It's not dry.
Maybe. Yeah.
What do you think that guy was? Do you think he was alive?
That's what you get for going to that particular establishment.
Yeah. So you get stabbed?
I guess. Something. I don't know.
I'm fine.
So you guys don't know whether or not the person was alive or dead.
Well, I'm not for sure, but he looked. I mean, he was unconscious at least.
He was not moving.
And bleeding. Bloody.
And there was a patrol officer standing over him. Lacey police.
A lot of blood on the torso.
Was he handcuffed?
No.
No.
I think it was a medical emergency, not a crime emergency.
Oh,
But
I
he was
should say if there's blood all over the
He was
place.
covered. Yeah, I don't know. He was covered in blood in his chest area, and he was not moving. That points to being dead, to me.
So
Yeah, it's hard to know.
Was there a major sale at Walmart where, you know, pushing, shoving, that sort of thing?
No.
Okay.
What'd you see, Jeremy?
No, it was like
In the middle of the night.
midnight.
It was
Yeah.
nighttime. Jeremy saw something though.
I saw a guy get beaten up by a bunch of security guards the other day.
Where?
Downtown.
No.
Downtown Olympia? What?
Security guards?
Yeah.
Where were the
Where?
security
So-
guards from?
From one of the bars. And the guy was like outside yelling at people like, "Fuck you, man!"
Yeah.
He took a swing at one of the security guards. And
Oh.
proceeded to throw him on the ground in
Whoa.
the street.
Yeah?
And there was like 3 of them. They were just pinning him down until the. I guess he did something inside too.
No
So they had kicked
doubt.
him out. And then he was like going after random people outside, and then he swung at the security guards.
Whoa.
And they took him down, and they were holding him down, and then they took his shoes off and threw him.
Whoa.
And then the police came and took him away.
Was it in the
Wow.
neighborhood of
Did you get his
Cafe
shoes back?
Vita or
Probably
Oh, yeah.
Obsidian?
It was,
Where was this
right
at?
near Cafe Vita.
Wow.
Not at Cafe Vita.
Yeah.
12:30.
Oh,
He
yeah.
didn't complain about the coffee or anything.
That place.
What happened to his shoes?
I don't know. I think his homeboys went and got his shoes.
Oh,
and
okay.
then,
Wow.
That's good. I'm ready to leave
Don't
him.
lose your shoes, people.
Yeah,
Rough night.
that's
Yeah.
what you get for random swinging at people for no reason other than your own.
I mean, I feel like he thought he had a reason. But
Your shoes will disappear.
It's always a good thing to do, you know, take people's shoes and
Yeah.
Yeah, no sweat.
You can hit shoes. Shoes are a weapon, maybe.
then earlier, well, I was walking that way, and like 2 blocks earlier, there were a bunch of ambulances and stuff. Well, the ambulance was were coming up the road, and where are they going? There's this, like police officers, and this guy's like sitting on the ground, all messed up, leaning against the wall, and then he threw up on himself. And
Whoa.
the police station stopped right there. I'm like, okay,
You saw him throw up?
yeah. So
Oh no, you've seen
Yeah.
the crazy stuff.
Sadness.
You think that guy was dead, Bird?
I have no idea. I don't think so, though.
You think he was
You
alive?
know, I don't think they'd be standing around him if he was dead. I think they'd be like standing up, talking, other stuff.
Oh yeah.
They wouldn't be crouched over him, kneeling.
Maybe he was dying.
Two medic
I don't know.
were crouched at him. Or fire department
Yeah.
people.
All right, that does make sense.
Yeah.
That's a good point. What did
Yeah.
why did the guy vomit on himself? What was he doing?
chilling.
He was like sitting on the corner, like on the street.
Yeah.
Chillin' and hurling.
It was in front of the tattoo place across from like 4th Ave and Reese.
Spider
area.
monkey.
Yeah.
I just think there's kind of like a layer of urine on the corner of all the sidewalks in downtown. I don't want.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Dude,
I
I
never
just
wanna-
ate a foot long
Well, it kind of,
veggie. Come on now.
eases up after.
I just ate a
Foot
bunch of
long
chicken
urine
burgers.
veggie.
Yeah.
Did you just eat a bunch of urine? I think it's just like
I don't want to be thinking about dried urine.
urine.
Yeah,
People
thank
sit
you.
next to the
I love you, bro.
But like anybody who's sitting on the ground in downtown Olympia was like, oh, you shouldn't. Only you should be
shouldn't
sitting
do
there. Yeah.
The amount of people and dogs and
Go to a
all
bench. Yeah.
Go to a restroom.
that. That's right.
All right. Hey,
Danny.
thanks, Bird.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
So it wasn't until about 50 million years ago that modern mammals kind of took over the earth. 50 million years ago, dolphins, creatures like horses, our ancestors, monkey-like creatures, alligators, interestingly, alligators and crocodiles survived the dinosaur extinction impact. And dinosaurs and sharks have been around for at least 150 million years.
Yeah, alligators are dinosaurs, right?
No. Dinosaurs.
I'll be damned.
Dinosaurs are kind of different creatures. We know from evidence that birds evolved from dinosaurs, and birds are warm-blooded. They have feathers. They have hollow bones. They have a specific pelvic structure. They have 4 cones in their eyes as opposed to 3 like mammals do. So birds can see a wider range of color than we can, more defined colors. They see a more refined sense of color. And they lay eggs. And interesting, this will gross you guys out, but birds have what is called a cochlea. And that is where they have their urethra and rectum empty into a central chamber, and when they evacuate, it goes out that central chamber. So they've got fewer holes in the back end.
The alligators and crocodiles, though, do lay eggs, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They lay eggs, but they're not built like birds. So
right.
They're different creatures. There's a long time that we thought that dinosaurs, it looks like dinosaurs evolved from reptiles, but reptiles are a separate and distinct group of animals. Dinosaurs, it looks like certainly the predators. Right, because we have the regular animals like hadrosaurs and stegosaurs and
Triceratops.
Triceratops.
Saber-toothed tiger.
These seem to be a little bit different than the predators, like the raptors and the tyrannosauruses and the various predatory creatures that walked on 2 legs for the most part. They may or may not they had 4 limbs. And depending on the species, the 4 limbs were elongated or not. And but they are what birds evolved from, the predator side of dinosaurs. And they had feathers, many of them. Many different creatures had feathers. It's not clear whether or not the stegosaurs and triceratops and hadrosaurs had feathers or not, but the predators certainly did. And what's interesting about feathers is that the color of the feathers is determined less by pigment and more by the microstructure of the feather itself. For instance, if you have a material and you shape it with tiny little bumps, like in a regular like desert dunes, right? The light will hit it and bounce off it in different ways. It will refract in different ways. And depending on the size of these little bumps determines how the light refracts. And so if the little bumps are several micrometers wide between the troughs and the gaps, you'll get a blue reflection. If they're a little bit bigger, you'll get a red reflection. If you get somewhere in between, you'll get green or yellow or orange as some other color. And modern birds have this feather structure in their more developed their tail feathers and wing feathers and some of the outer crest feathers. The inner feathers are more like downy, and they have kind of a different structure. They're more for warmth than they are for flight or display.
Yeah. What? Carl, you got something to say?
Dinosaur feathers have.
Well, hold on. I think Carl's got something to say.
Microstructural.
Dan, hold on. I think Carl has something to say.
Okay, Carl.
Yo, spit it, Carl.
You're watching your daily hour with me. It's our long hyperlive call-in television talk show that's recorded every day in Thurston County, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, 366 days on leap years. YDHWM began on September 19th, 2010. That tapes a week in advance. So if you're watching this on TCTV channel 22, 11:30 p.m. This episode taped on the same weekday of the previous week. If you're watching this at 2 a.m., this episode taped on the same day of the month of the previous year. Watch any program on YouTube.com. Anyone can come on the program, especially you. We rely on the community for content, so give us a call at 360-836-4384 or leave a message. We'll play your message on the next episode of the program. Thank you for watching. Get up back to the program.
My job is to push those letters up and keep moving up. Keep the flow.
So, feathers.
So, feathers. So, depending on the microstructures of the feathers determines their color. And these microstructures have been preserved in some fossils that we found, where the kind of rock that filled in and became part of the fossil was the kind of grains that could preserve these tiny, tiny little microscopic structures of the feathers. And they found red, they found black, they found white, for sure. Not sure about blue, green, or yellow, or orange, but it's entirely possible that every color of the rainbow, these dinosaurs happened. What they haven't figured out is where the transition happened in dinosaurs from how they started flying, where the flying started. One thing is they lived in trees, they had feathers, and feathers assisted gliding. And eventually they started flapping, and then, going from the tree to the ground, and flight happened on the way down, or whether the flapping of the wings helped them gain speed and have an advantage over their prey.
In museums, we see a pterodactyl is having no feathers at all.
Yeah, that's a completely different kind of dinosaur. It was skin only. There's no evidence yet that I've seen that pterodactyls had feathers. Nothing that I've seen.
T-Rex could have?
T-Rex could have, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and what they think is most of the dinosaurs had the downy type feathers. They had down rather than the long feathers that like an eagle or a hawk or a ostrich has, or a chicken. Well, a downy feather, like a little fern plant. You've got a single spike, and then you've got these little fronds that stick out along the way. Whereas a regular feather is more like a two-sided tree, where you have it growing straight up, and you've got these fronds that stick out at regular intervals and that sort of thing. So there is a difference. And all birds have the two different kinds of feather. They have down underneath, and then the feathers over top. That wick off water and...
What?
Hey, Kenny,
What?
I have a question for you.
No.
What the fuck, Over? What the fuck do you think you're doing, motherfucker?
We're sitting in...
That's my question.
I'm talking science, man. That's what's happening. So yeah, my visit to Canada was so filled with dinosaur and typhoons and eras and eons and all that it's just kind of been occupying my mind, and I go to look for things, science-wise.
Yeah.
Just kind of... 1 million years ago, large-brained creatures...
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 36056111035 is not available.
So, yeah, we're calling you. Yeah, it's Monday. Don't ever forget that. Never forget. So yeah, it's just kind of amazing. It was a few million years after this major meteor hit the Earth at Chicxulub, Yucatan Peninsula. Yes, yeah, and it was really interesting. They found the evidence of that crater drilling holes for oil. Venezuela is a big fan of oil. They found all kinds of oil places, and they were doing test drills, and someone took an interest in the core samples that they dug up, because they use core samples to look for what kind of earth, sedimentary, different kinds of rock, favor oil patches.
Hey, you've reached Freddie Doberman. I can't come to the phone right now, but if you leave me a nice message, then I will call you back as soon as I can. Thanks a lot.
Call. Really? 20 minutes? We should roll the dice. Number 2. Dolphins and whales were land creatures that lived very close to the ocean, and they ended up returning to the sea and developing whale-like fins and their nose at the top of their head. Whale things. Fins as opposed to toes. 2 and 3. Yay! I got a 3. Anyone else? Really? 0. 4. Yeah.
Back in the sea.
Yeah, they returned to the ocean.
Yeah. Why all this dinosaur stuff, Dan? You've been looking at dinosaur stuff specifically?
Well,
That's Jurassic World.
I found this website. I was really curious.
Did you see Jurassic World?
Yeah, I did.
I thought it was terrible.
Well, you know, it reminded me of the very first one. It seemed to have the same kinds of elements as the first one. A little more terrible. I have.
Hey!
It's a commercial.
Welcome back to the studio that we've been at for a couple of days now.
We're talking about chairs, and we talked to Elias for a long time. Hey, Elias, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Drink some water.
I did.
Oh, good. How much?
4 ounces.
4 ounces? How do you know it's ounces? Is it like a cup?
Check it out.
Oh, so they drink it out of like a jalapeno container.
Jalapeno? Jalapeno container?
Like a glass jar that had jalapenos in it?
Yes.
No, I think a jalapeno container is like a little serving cup.
4 ounces.
Yeah.
That's not 4 ounces. That's more like 1 ounce or half an ounce.
4.
No,
An
that's
ounce is a shot glass.
No.
A shot glass is like
Shots
2.5.
Is it an ounce and a half?
Yeah.
Okay. So a jalapeno container.
You don't usually
not that big.
fill up the shot glass. There's a line on it typically.
It's not right to the top.
Probably like 2. So like 2 shots worth of jalapenos.
Yeah.
It was like one of those medium-sized.
Yeah, I don't
cups.
think I'd want to drink jalapeno water at all.
No.
It was out of the.
So what do we got? Another 3.
Oh, 5, 3, 2. But Dan won.
I didn't win.
Dan, you won.
I did. I won.
You got 1,000 points.
Yay for the Hadrosaurs.
Me and Coral got 500, but it was not enough to win. Jimmy got no points.
Yeah.
You took it.
0 points.
Yeah. Okay, so
Playing by golf rules, I win though.
In space news, if you're really interested, I found a website that shows.
What if I'm not really interested?
I have nothing new from Pluto. It's downloading high-resolution images now.
Yeah.
And every Friday there's going to be a release of images of these high-resolution pictures of Pluto and its moon Charon or Charon, depending on
Charon!
Greek or Latin. The jury's still out. I'm calling it Charon because that's what I've called it for years. But it could be pronounced Charon with a silent H. So one never knows about these things. One never knows. Look at all them pretty 3s.
Wait, where's the other 3? Yeah, now there's more 6s.
Yeah, Carl, what? Oh, he's re-rolling them.
Oh, no, don't show that anymore.
Oh, man, now.
Sharon!
Am
What
I
about Sharon?
again?
Yeah.
Look at all
Don't
the
look at that. Don't look at that.
1s.
Don't look at that. What about Sharon? What about Sharon?
Oh, well, the moon is spelled, the name of the moon is spelled C-H-A-R-O-N. Charon. Right, and I was pronouncing it Sharon or something like that, and then I saw a pronunciation guide of how it was spelled, and it was Sharon with the hyphen thing, whatever where the accent is, where the on the AR part, so it's Sharon, and I've heard it pronounced in official things where they pronounce it Karen or Sharon. And the British seem to like Karen, and the Americans seem to like Sharon. Sharona. Yeah. So every Friday there's going to be a big. Every Friday there's going to be a burst of images from Pluto, high resolution, the best ones we got, and then they'll send data and telemetry and kind of side, less interesting stuff, less visual things. In the coming months, but it'll take them 18 months to download all this.
Carl's got words to say.
Okay, Carl. Yeah. So next Monday I'll talk about that because there will be more information released. That's really interesting. Yeah.
Space.
Yeah, space.
Pluto. You've been waiting for that Pluto stuff. Still no Pluto stuff. Did you tell them?
Yeah, well, it's like we got a bunch of nice pictures and then nothing for a month. I was annoyed. Well, I was like, what's the cock block, man? What's the damage? Why aren't we getting any pictures? I want pictures.
Hello?
This is geek porn to me.
Hello?
Because I'm a geek.
Dan?
Hello?
What the heck?
Hello?
What happened there? That was weird. Something weird happened.
All dropped. That was me to work a lot.
They found a wasp in South America that the venom kills cancer cells but does nothing to healthy cells.
What?
Cancer cells pick up the venom really great and it kills them off.
They spent all this time looking for a cure for cancer and all they had to do is find a wasp. Hello?
Yeah, imagine that.
Hello, Dan?
Hey, you got cancer. Just walk into this wasp chamber here and take off your clothes.
Dan, I don't know what's going on with the phone. Something weird's going on. I'm trying to call Dan Dobler, but it's not working.
Oh, man, that sucks. Yeah.
Stop rolling.
Also...
That's over. That's over.
Also, CERN, this giant particle accelerator, they are accelerating particles. They're accelerating particles at this unprecedented energy levels.
Yeah.
And they are finding little energies and particles that are confusing. They're not sure what they're finding. They're finding new things. They're new behaviors of subatomic particles they've never seen before, with this new higher energy that they're shooting little bundles of atoms around at near the speed of light in the opposite direction and then colliding them together.
Well, I wish I could claim responsibility.
Well, you could claim responsibility, albeit it might not be. You might not be fully responsible for the thing. Yeah.
Dan's talking about something.
So we're getting scientists are seeing things that they did not predict, did not expect, and are not sure what they are with these new class of particles. Well, up until a certain point, every time when they would smash these atoms together, they would see subatomic particles that would spin off from the collision at predicted rates, at predicted amounts, at predicted energies, at predicted amount of time that they would live before they would evaporate into other particles.
Sounds like they're gonna rip a hole into hell or something.
The people are always afraid they're gonna create a little micro black hole that will suck in more and suck in more and suck in more, and then they'll suck the Earth in.
It sounds like they're gonna make a hole into a demon galaxy.
I think when I originally started looking at this deep time of Earth, from the time the Earth formed to the time that modern creatures formed, the vast majority of the time on the Earth single-celled bacteria occupy the entire planet. And when people ask me, do I believe in aliens? I tell them, yes, I do. But I think the aliens, the vast majority of aliens on planets orbiting other stars that are somewhat Earth-like, are large pools of bacterial ooze and goo.
Mm-hmm.
That
extra-dimensional beings.
Well, there might be a few of those. I don't discount the possibility of, you know, the greens and the grays and the lizard men and the all these different aliens flying around in spaceships and stuff like that. I don't discount the possibility of them, but the vast majority of life in the galaxy is most likely goo, blue-green algae or something like that, or extremophiles, or single-celled life forms that have learned how to reproduce, and they're all over the planet in various forms. And since the Earth, the overwhelming vast majority of life on Earth has been really simple and under the sea and small. Yep, small, simple life forms. The most likely thing when we discover life on another planet, it will be a very simple, small organism that you know, doesn't necessarily have a ray gun or you know, speak by saying boop 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 like that.
Yeah.
None of that. It'd be more like it'd sound like that.
It's gonna be the blob.
Mm-hmm, the blob that farts.
What if they're so far advanced that we are like the pile of algae shit?
Oh, that's entirely possible. That's entirely possible.
Yeah, it is.
What seems to be the case in the universe with all things, the higher, the fewer. The larger, the fewer. The bigger, the fewer. The smarter, the fewer. The more complicated and advanced, the fewer. Kinda. Well, when you look at planets, there's one great big huge one, and then everything else is smaller and smaller and smaller, and the smaller they get, the more of them there are. Considering comets and asteroids floating around, they're small, relatively speaking, compared to the planets. We've got 4 terrestrial planets that are the size of the Earth or smaller, and then we got a cajillion comets and asteroids that are even smaller. In the galaxy, the most common star in the galaxy is a red dwarf, which is maybe twice the diameter of Jupiter. Cajillion, that has a whole bunch of zeros in it. That's like a 1 or some other number between 1 and 0, between 1 and 9.
Yeah, it's the end of the show.
Followed by a string of zeros.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks, Jeremy.
2/3 of all the stars in our galaxy
Bird.
are these tiny little stars.
Mr. Ginsu. Is that everybody?
The higher, the fewer.
We talked to anybody else today? I think that's it. Tried talking to Dan.
We tried talking to Dan, Mr. Ginsu. We talked to Jeremy. Did we try calling Freddie?
We tried, didn't work. Thanks, dead guy at Walmart.
Dead guy at Walmart. And puking drunk guy in the street over by Dancing Goats or something? By Dancing Goats.
If you have to puke, go into a bush.
If you have to spew in one of those little jalapeno containers.
That's why it's Labor Day.
Yeah. If you've got to spew in
the number of day of the week, thank you. YDHWM.com. If you want, though.
Unless you believe in reincarnation,
Tiffany Pinto, TCTV, Crystal Ball, Limit, Jordan E, Faculty, Thurston County, Washington. I'll say thank you. Viewers only. Hell yeah, dog.
and blah, blah, blah.